Good morning, welcome back to Shed Wars. I was going to edit this video last night and just put up a little short video, but then I remembered that I had to cut back the herbs to keep them in the confines that I want them in. Before doing so, I wanted to go through the herb bed and take out the lamb sorrel that was trying to take over. And I found something exciting, so I said, oh, this got to go in Shed Wars. So welcome to Shed Wars, Northern Hemisphere 2022. Enjoy the video. Today is the day for harvesting garlic scapes. I'll put you down right there. Maybe I'll move you up. There's 120 garlic plants here. I think every one of them has a scape on them. Some of them are curled all the way around. Some of them are not. I'm just going to take them all now. Then the garlic harvest will be done. Garlic scape harvest, I should say. See, this one's starting to curl back up. I wonder the scape is not out far enough to harvest. I didn't cut them all. The reason being I want them to grow to maximize my harvest. But some people say that if you let them go too far, then they start to lose their quality. So I let them go until they got a good curl on it. When they start to turn back up, see, they'll curl around like this one and get it before it goes into its second curl, and then it's still good. But past that, it's not. But there's quite a few there that are still just straight little whips. And like I said, I want to maximize my harvest, so I'm going to let them grow until they do that first curl around. This, of course, the strawberry bed hasn't filled in yet, but I'm getting quite a few strawberries. I'm going to have to maybe put down little pots for these runners to take root in. Seems like I had some birds pecking at strawberries, and I had one there that I had a snail, but in previous years all of my strawberry damage has been by snails. But this year birds seem to have taken a liking to them. That was 2 days out of, like you can see, it's not really, the bed isn't filled in yet. Next year it'll probably be filled in. I did harvest another 1.8 kilograms of rhubarb, but I forgot to record it. Last year, no strawberries made it to the house. This year, they're going to make it to the house. There's too many for me to be eating out in the garden. But I don't think I'm going to get more than what I'm going to eat as frozen treats. $181 grams. Put a bigger container on, the way the garlic scapes. Zero it. 379 grams. See, in this bed, I'm going to have areas in the garden where I'm just going to let the herbs grow wild. But in these two beds, I want to keep them kind of separated. So this St. John's wort here and the echinacea, I want to cut it so that I've got just a cut line in between the two. Some of them, like the tarragon here, you can see I have sticks put down. So the tarragon's supposed to be in between those sticks, and the broadleaf sage is supposed to be in the next square that the sticks are lining out. So I've got to cut that end off the broadleaf sage. I have to trim back this lavender to keep it within the bed. And once again, you see the sticks there. This savory is supposed to stay within the bounds of those 4 sticks. I was on a live the other day, and there were some Shedwars members on there, and I mentioned this plant. This is a lovage. It tastes pretty much like celery. There's that one that's ANSIE or something, a name. People say it's got a little bit of that taste. I've never tasted that. I've only tasted celery, and this tastes a lot like celery. It's a perennial, so I decided that for this video I would also speak about this one and talk about how you would use it. It has a tall round stalk where the flowers come up, and here's the leaves. It's completely edible, the whole entire plant. You can take the leaf. This is what I did this morning. I cut these up in little pieces. It is a little tougher, so you'll probably want to cut it up in little pieces if you're going to be using it fresh. But I cut it up in little pieces and I put it on my toast this morning with my toast and eggs, and it was really good. What I've noticed, I'll bring you down lower, this entire plant, it will die back to the ground in winter. So if you take it before just the weather's getting cold and it's starting to die back, you have this entire mass of plant material that you can dry out and then powder as a celery flavor. So as you've seen, it's a huge plant. One plant would probably be enough, but it sends out some short ones in the beginning, and it's got this underside, so it's growing something like rhubarb in that sense. It sends up shoots from the center, and the underside ones, you see, they're starting to die, and that's because they're not getting light. They're getting shaded out by the upper side stuff. So throughout the season, if you want to keep it all, and of course if you're using it fresh, you just use the lower leaves, and then you got a plant there that's not showing any sign of weakness, right? But what I'm going to do to show you more, I'm going to cut down one of these flower stalks here now. So here we've got the entire stalk. Here's the joints. So similar to a grass, right? Put that one down there. But this is how it grows. It's a circular thing, so instead of like the celery, you got this U-shaped thing. You've got a circular thing with an hollow tube. Actually, it would be nice because when we were kids, we used to put cheese whiz on our celery. This one you can actually stuff the tube with cheese. You see? Now you can take this smaller one now. If you look in there, I don't know if you can see, but at this joint, so I'll cut it right below the joint, there's a membrane across. But here, now you have a straw. So at the join right here at every leaf node, there will be a membrane across. That's the length of the straw. Now that's good for a small glass. Of course, the bigger they are, the longer the pieces. I got a leaf joint there. And one here. So you can see that one's closed off. I don't know if I can get it straight enough that you can see through or not. Let's see. But this one is hollow the entire length through. You see how long it is? So you can use these as straws. So here's what we have for lovage. We have our longer but bigger straws. We have a shorter, smaller straw like you would use in a regular glass. You can slice these down the center and use them just like you would use regular celery. The leaves you can cut up and put into salads or on toast, whatever, and then you dry it. This, like celery, has got the strong fibers running this way. So if you were to dehydrate this, you'd have to cut it up into very short pieces to actually dehydrate it. The biggest thing I was thinking about was this savory, summer savory. Actually, I think it's winter savory, because it is a big plant getting out of its way. So I just have to cut it back. With these bushes, you get weeds that's growing up in the center of them. So when you're harvesting it, you could pick out the weeds afterwards if you want, whichever you find easier. I try to have as many weeds picked out that I don't have to pick out in the house. See, this is the lamb sorrel that it's easy to get up, like I said before, but it's so much of it. I want to think about this because I don't know if I'll get an issue with it dying out in the center like the thyme did. See if I can get this stinging nettle out without stinging myself. So now I have it cut back within its confines. Yeah, I have another little tomato plant here as well. But that's coriander, which is the seed. Got the other name, forgot now. Just slipped my mind. But anyway, coriander is the seed and the other one is the leaf. That's an herb. I thought I only put in 2 rows. You see I have some coming up over here and some here. But then when I was here weeding, I noticed that I had some over here, so I don't know what's becoming there. I guess I got 3. Now, so here is the thing I found exciting. You see this plant? I'm going to bring you in a little closer. That's not lemon balm. That is catnip. And there's several plants. Catnip doesn't spread by rhizomes, it spreads by seed. So it grows into a very big plant, and like parsley, it will go to seed, and then you'll have like 1,000,000 little seedlings growing up. That happened a couple years ago, and since then I was thinking that catnip was a perennial that just wasn't going to die, but maybe it's what they call a short-lived perennial. I was trying to keep it from going to seed. I had this whole area which covered in little seedlings, and it was just too much, and I said, forget it. I just covered it in 2 inches of compost and smothered out most of the seedlings. But when I was there, like I said, taking up the lamb sorrel, I noticed them growing. So I'm going to let them grow a little bit more, and then I'll take one and I'll put it back here where I had the other one. Let it grow up into a big plant. The other ones, find places where I can put them out and just let them go wild. When the one that's here grows up, when the flowers comes on, I'll chop it down below the flowers. I won't let it flower. Then I shouldn't have a problem with having to weed out a lot. When I need a new plant, it's just a matter of going to where I have the other ones planted, digging one up and putting it back here for the presentation's sake. Back to your confines, lavender. This is the lamb sorrel. See, if you have hens, they love it. This is the flower stock that it puts up. Should be able to reach it all in around. This stick is a little bit not straight up. Now this lovage is going out over the sage here, so I'm going to cut down these few pieces so that they're not shading out the broadleaf sage. And again over this side, so it's not shading out the thyme that's here. If my memory serves me correctly, the leaves of St. John's wort can be used to make a tea. So I'm going to bring them in and weigh them as an harvest, and I will check that out. As I said, I'm just making a cut line here in between the echinacea and the St. John's wort. There's a lot of weeds down there too. See, I'll get them up later now. Thing is, when you're having wanting to make a place where you got things on display, you kind of got to be able to get in around it and clean up. So you need these little narrow spaces in between each plant, really. And it's growing out past the sticks on this side. I've never used dillweed in my life. Got some dill here, and of course over in the other bed. But I do have some cucumber plants now, and I was wanting to make more pickles, so I might get enough dillweed to try making some dill pickles. I brought the other ones in already. I used up all of my oregano that I had dried over the winter. I have two kinds of oregano. So over in the 2 herb beds, there's that little small one, probably because it doesn't get as much sun. But if you watched my videos last year, you know I planted some Greek oregano on either side of this cherry plum tree. And I took the branches up a little bit, but I was intending to keep the oregano cut down to rather small. But it can send up a fairly high flower stalk, see? It's sending up flower stalks now. I'm going to just trim it down and see how much I get. I have another type, it's Italian oregano, and it's growing up in the weeds over by the grapevine. That's all I want to do with those 2 plants. I want to trim down that other one as well. By the time winter comes around, I'll have a lot of oregano again. I had quite a few flowers on this, but I don't know how big those berries are going to grow. That's a Chippewa blueberry there. By the time I dries that down, it's not going to be a whole lot. But this is the Greek oregano. You can see how the leaves are. This is the Italian oregano. They grow up, the stem itself, not just the flower stalk, grows up very high. And this is what it looks like when it's going to flower. So, as I said now, that little bit I got there is going to dry down to a small amount. And oregano, for the most part, I use it dried. So I'm going to take a bunch of Italian oregano and add with it. And I'll just call it oregano. At some point I'll get that back out of the weeds as well. I'll just take that much for now. When it comes to the harvest of the above ground growth vegetation now, that'll be coming in little drabs all summer long. So I won't be recording every little bit that comes in on video. I wanted to show you the lovage and how the catnip propagated, and I don't have to actually go and find somebody who's selling a catnip plant now. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to follow along, as always, make sure you subscribe, you can hit the bell, and I shall see you in the next video.